everyone. I'm about to share my screen and show you Photoshop on the iPad. We'll dive into select subject. All right, hello everyone. Hopefully you can see me now. Fantastic. Let's dive into this. All right, fantastic. Sorry, a little rough start today. But anyways, we're gonna dive into this right now. Feel free to chime in and say something. Say hello or something. There we are. Okay, fantastic. Let's dive into this right now. I'm going to switch screens and we'll see some of this magic that I have going on. So yeah, here we are. In fact, let's get this better view. There we are. I'm going to dive into, so if you have an iPad, if you have Photoshop on the iPad, we actually updated Photoshop on the iPad, the latest release. I want to show you select subject, which is just like how it works on the desktop, because again, it's the same technology, which is fantastic. Steve, good to see you here, buddy, from New Zealand in the house. Good to see you, man. And Shakar as well, and Muriel as well. Very cool. Good to see you. So, I'm going to go ahead and launch into this. Notice this is kind of my recent work. You can always suggest a feature right up here. You can see what's coming, by the way. We're going to have rotate canvas, all these shapes and paths. Bring in your own brushes. Smart objects are on their way too. And you could always suggest a feature there. You got it? Cool. Let's dive into what I want to do. Which is just working on this cloud document, which is also editable on my desktop as well. But this is a cloud document. I actually already have lots of layers in here. You can see what I have going on here. I have this deer, I have this deer, and 9 times out of 10, what you want to do with any image is jump in and just select it. So if you do a long press on the selection tools, you'll see pop up select subject. And let me zoom in on that. Hopefully you can see that right there. Select subject. From there, I can just hit that. Again, no hands mode. Don't have to touch anything. It will go through and select the subject, like regardless of where it is. So if it's off to the side or if there's a couple of them, we can get into all those details. But now that it's selected, you know, it gets me like 80% there. I see some issues with it. Roseba, good to see you here as well. Fantastic. Yeah, Stephen might buy you like Groundhog Day. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, I had an issue earlier with connecting. Actually, Wirecast did. But if you select another tool, and I'll typically select the quick selection tool, and then right here, you have the ability to add or remove from the current selection. I actually want to remove from the current selection, and I want to adjust the size of the brush. Okay, so if you can see that, as I drag up and down, I want to make it a little smaller, and then I can kind of remove that area right in here. I can click add to add to it, of course, and I can kind of start to work on this. So that being said, once I have that selection done, all I need to do is I could do whatever I want at this point. But ultimately, you're probably going to want to make a mask. Boom, just like that. There's our mask, right? And I have that deer masked out. I can do the same thing with this deer just to show you a couple of examples. Right in here. I'm going to duplicate this deer. And for this one, I'm going to do a select subject. It goes through, it selects it. And yeah, I could even get a little more granular by, say, removing these pixels right in here by drawing that area and masking that out. And this is the masked out deer at this point, right? The reason I'd want to do that is because I might want to put some things between these two layers. King 30 Remorta is watching from the Philippines. That's fantastic. Good to see. Let's click over, see if I can see other comments. There we go, Sean. Cool. So Sean, this is for you as well. So this is Photoshop on the iPad, by the way. I can come in here. I can do a long press on any one of these tools. I can do a soft round opacity and flow is what I'm doing. Right. Let's turn on that background just so we can see it. And I can change the size of this, but I can just paint right in here. And you can see if I turn on this other layer, you can see obviously we have that sort of, you know, glow behind that deer. Maybe I want to change it a little bit. Maybe just on a new layer, I want to add a little yellow, right? Maybe some speckles, for instance, just some little like magical like little dots is what I can do as well. And I'd probably vary the color, but also right in here, you'll like this, Sean, because for that layer 22, which is all those little bursts, we can dive into the blend modes. So what do I want to do? Maybe change it to lighter color. Maybe overlay is gonna be good. Soft light as well. I'll go with overlay. I might want to shift this as well, because not only that, check this out. I can add a clipped adjustment layer and go in here and just change the hue and saturation, and I can shift those colors to I don't know, be more festive or more cold, and you can see how I added that clipped mask there. All right, but let's go on to what I am doing for this fun little guy. Is I have a number of other layers. Let's take this North American cardinal, right? So this gets more complex with that background. So typically select subject should be your first move. Go to select subject, right? See what it grabs, right? Because it's so easy to do. It's so quick, right? And then, you know, you're well on your way, at least I am, when it comes to selecting this lovely cardinal. And all I need to do is deselect this bottom part because I actually don't want that stump, but I do want the cardinal, so let's mask it out. There it is. You get the idea. So yes, I am on, just so you know, I am on an iPad, and yeah, that's what I'm working on. So what I wanted to do with this cardinal, maybe this cardinal's up here, right? Maybe this cardinal is actually behind the deer's antlers, like so, right? You could see that right there, but we can add a couple more. Let's go in here, multiple subjects in this case as well. So Jeremy, hopefully this works for you. Right in here, I'm going to do a long press again, select subject, no hands mode. It selects those birds. Actually grab some things that I don't want, easily deselect those. And this is the part I do. So we're going to make sure we add to selection, and I'll come in here and just quickly. I'm convinced that the lasso tool is so hard to work with on the desktop, but on an iPad with Apple Pencil, it's like your greatest weapon. Because I'll literally just go in here and just, I'm able to like select those individual pixels very smoothly, very easily. Just like that. Something like that. This is all that cleanup that I would do. Selecting these two birds. There we have it. Oh, let's check this one. We got that issue. Zoop. Just like that. Here's another thing. Since I'm using a keyboard, by the way, Jeremy, I could hit F. Oops. Let's do an undo. If I hit the F key, I'm actually highlighting. I'm actually giving, it gives me different views so I can see how clear these are going to be cut out. It looks like I kind of like this view actually. Let's undo that again. Or even this red one, I can come in here and again, just kind of work on this little part that I kind of missed and this little part that I kind of missed. Doesn't really matter too much, by the way, because all I'm going to do is turn this into a mask just like that. And now we have two more birds that we can work with as I scale them down. So this isn't on Linux. No, just working on Photoshop on the iPad. This is brand new. This is our very first update for it, just so you know. And there's going to be more to come. We could see off to the side, by the way, this is everything that we'd expect. We could see it made this layer mask, right? I can select that layer mask, and I can use this menu and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and add, what do I want to do? I want to get rid of that. Selecting that mask, I can flatten. And that's this option right down here. It's no longer available, but basically you can flatten those layers, that layer mask. Because in this case, I actually want to just select one of these birds, right? What do? We cut it, we paste it, and now I have this bird on its separate layer as well, okay? So that's what I do, going through most of this, just using select subject, because it's probably the easiest tool that you could use when it comes to using Photoshop. And what do? Add to this selection like so. Let me know if you have questions, Robert. Good to see you here. And Yolanda as well. Hello. Hello, hello. Another cardinal, because it's just such a nice, like, winter bird, and it works great for design because of its color, right? Works great for the holidays, if you celebrate the holidays. I'll maybe turn off those two layers, and that's what I have so far. Same thing for this bird. Wait for it. It's cardinal in snow. Well, it's not in snow anymore. It is on the deer's head, like so, like that. Okay. Done and done. Felicia likes it. Thank you so much for joining me, Felicia. All right, even this, right? I want to have them make it look like they're stringing up lights in his antlers. So, same process. Select subject. This gets a little tricky. Let's mask this out. That's actually pretty good, right? There's some spots that have been missed. One thing that is not on Photoshop for the iPad, there isn't like a select color or brightness or anything like that. But what I can do with this is I can go in here and change the blend mode to something like darken. And that, or actually even multiply works out great. Right, so I could just potentially change the blend mode to get rid of that white. Right, and I get it, it's a little dark. I can make it brighter, because the issue is, Felicia and Steve, you probably know this, is that this black is way too black. It's not going to work for this photo. So what do? We add a clipped adjustment layer. Let's just go with hue and saturation. Why not? And we're just going to add, I'm going to add lightness to it. And let's take this, let's go ahead and flatten it as well. But from there, I'm just going to kind of shrink this down, just like that. And just kind of have it, make it look like initially the birds are kind of holding these lights. That's the idea. So just bring one up there. This cardinal's getting in the way a little bit. So hey, buddy. You right there, we see ya. He'll be up here or something. A lot of... So this also works on Photoshop for the Mac, by the way. Yes, we could totally do that. Since you asked, Jeremy, by the way, let's switch over. Here's Photoshop. So here's Photoshop on the desktop. I'll move this over, right? We have Photoshop on the iPad. And you could see what's happening here. I actually kind of want to do a couple more things here, but then I'm ultimately going to open this up on my desktop and I can fine-tune it some more, is the idea. All right. Let's do this. Selecting this, flatten. I'm just flattening, getting rid of some of those layers. Because even for this cardinal right up here, it's just not that, like, so much color correction needs to happen at this point, right? We can add a little color balance in there. We can adjust the brightness and contrast. Let's do color balance a little bit. And not only that, we definitely need to adjust the exposure. Might work as well. And again, I'm just applying it to that one little bird, right? So we could take that exposure down a touch, right? And it's just kind of pushing it back there. But one thing I thought would be that I could do that's kind of fun is come in here, add a layer, and sorry, I was probably leaning away from the mic. Using a brush, soft round brush, pressure, opacity, right? And I can paint some nice little white dots right here. That's all I'm doing is just boom, 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 boom. And I'd start to maybe even change this. I ultimately would change this to something like overlay. And now I'm painting in overlay mode, right? Making kind of these larger, like, lit up areas because we want that kind of splashing onto those birds if there's going to be lights there. And that's what I would do in this case. I'd have two layers. One is this ambient light that I'm producing. The next one would be just the straight brush like that, really strong. Boom, boom, boom. You get the idea. Painting with light. All right, let's get back to select subject because there's more I need to add. I want to add a squirrel in here as well. Okay, you get the idea. This is just a concept that I'm working on right now. All right, and let's move this over and back. Let's go in here. What else do we have? We have some fun little squirrels. Why not? Here's a squirrel. Same situation, right? Take really anything, any layer, anything that you've imported. Most of these came from my CC libraries, right? So that's what I did is I imported them from CC libraries. Kind of skipped that step because you didn't need to really know about it. It's pretty straightforward. But in here, we'll just go do select subject on this little guy. Boom, there it does it. It gets both parts again because it might think I want the hand, right? And it can't read minds. But I remove that. I see that awesome squirrel. Man, that is pretty good. Mask it out right now. Shrink it down. You get the idea. Maybe make it a little larger. And move him up. Because he's going to be reaching for the lights. Something kind of fun like that. Let's move this down. Behind the deer antlers. Like that. Okay. Cool. I must say, Jeremy, just so you know, it's the tools don't make the art. The person makes the art. But yes, you know, the tools don't do the work. It's still you're gonna have select subject. Everybody's gonna have select subject, and it's up to you if you want to produce like something cool with it. So here's the final, as you can see, Jeremy. Hopefully this works for you. This is the final. A number of layers, a number of lights. You could see all that. And what did I do? I used select subject for most of it, right? And you can see these fun squirrels. This squirrel reaching up, that squirrel reaching up. That's the great thing about it. From there, this is a cloud document. It's being saved, actually being saved in the background. Here it is, right? On my iPad, but also on my desktop. So as I switch over, right here it is, just to kind of show you this awesomeness. Boom, there it is on my iPad. Here it is also on my desktop in Photoshop for the desktop. All right. Yeah, Rosebud, let me know if you have a question, my friend. Seems you too busy doing the artwork. Help me out, buddy. This is the Apple iPad. This is the latest version, by the way. We can actually check the version really fast right in here. Looks like I have to update it, but this is just an iPad with iOS 13.3 and is the latest one from it's with the 9-inch or whatever, something like that. But yeah. So that's what I'm using, just so you know. And that's what's powering this file. And that's how it ends up here. Boom, there it is. We can go full screen, add whatever we want. In this case, I've added a color lookup, and I can dive more into this. But you can see if I ever wanted to add more to this, like these birds, guess what? it's this same functionality right in here. If I select the tool, I have select subject here on my desktop, right? And it works the same way, right? Select subject is pretty much everywhere. So when I jump to my desktop and I notice these files, oh, there we go. We can select those. Nice little birds. And then I can get rid of a lot of this down here, which again, even on the desktop with this mouse, it's still like not as easy to select as it is with Apple Pencil. But there it is. There's those birds. I can shrink them down. You get the idea. Cool. Fantastic. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Again, you could see where I use this bird already. This is my final version. So, but you see how you can do that. I'll turn that off. You get the idea. You get the idea. That is the power of Photoshop on the iPad. So, and how easily you can work from desktop to iPad like I've been doing as well. So thanks for hanging out with me. I guess that's all I have for you. Check it out, select subject. Just update Photoshop on the iPad and you will have it. And that's just one of the new updates that we're having. More is coming soon. So thanks so much for watching. Felicia, thank you for always being positive. Rosebud, thanks for hanging out. Muriel and everyone. Tian and Khalid from Iraq. Wow, fascinating. All right, everyone. Well, I will let you go. Let me know if you want to see anything else. You can hit me up across all social media platforms, and we can continue the conversation. So thanks so much for watching, everybody.